Just like that, my friend, we are right back into another brand new live stream right here on Longbox Punk. That's me. I'm Chris. I'm the Longbox Punk, and I am joined by post-punk extraordinaire CL Zeno, my dude. Thanks for hanging out with me again and talking comics with me one more time. Appreciate you being here.
Happy to be back, man. This is definitely my favorite podcast to be on. It's just a good
Go
time.
on.
Just a good time. That's it.
I know I unboxed this on my Instagram, but not everybody is aware that I do that every Wednesday at 9 p.m. I do unboxings and stuff on the live stream there. But I just want to say thanks for this super sick Blade sketch that you sent me. This is the reason I had to get it right here. The sword in the face. And yes, I just mimed the sword facing here. Like that's the reason I had to get this sketch. So super rad that you sent it to me. I appreciate it. I gotta find it a happy home here amongst all the other stuff that I have in my office.
Those were like sketches that I had before I even had a comic at the table. I just had like a bunch of sketches that I had done.
Okay.
And so I've been able to like turn those into like freebies and like giveaways to like raise money for like the ACLU.
Oh,
And like
nice.
I typically do stuff around like Black History Month, because like I have a ton of characters that I happen to draw like for Black History Month years ago. So yeah,
Mm.
like I love that those prints just are a gift that keeps on giving, and as many people want them, I'll keep printing them and sending them to people. So
Yeah, that's sick. Well, my buddy Chris missed him completely. So, dude, he's on Instagram at CL Zeno, which is also down below. Like, if you message him, I'm sure you can work something out. So, because it is, and it wasn't the only sick sketch. It just, like I said, I had to have the vampire being stabbed in the face. I needed that on my wall. So, all right, man, we're going to get into the Enchanted Circus of Wonder, which you currently have kickstarting right now,
yeah,
with Jason Keith, which is a name that people might know. He's done a whole 15 years for Marvel as a colorist.
yep.
So I'm curious how all of this came to be as well. But if people happen to have missed our first chat about Drunk Mom, which is completed. You've got the artwork done. I've got the
Yep.
digital version of it in my inbox. But if people missed that, like give me your origin story of how you got into comics and how all this started for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So comics were a like safe space for me growing up. Um, I was kind of the black sheep of the family, like always grounded, always the scapegoat for everything, always in trouble.
Yep.
So, I mean, but my parents would never be like, "We're gonna take away your books," we're gonna let you read as much as you want. That's not really
Yeah.
that's not really a realistic punishment. And they couldn't take away like pencils or anything for school, so I was always drawing and reading comics. So, um, I mean, and that turned into a language of creative expression as an adult. Whether it was like writing a bunch of notes on my phone for Drunk Mom over the years, just like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if this? And then it turned into a very therapeutic practice of like writing, very deep personal things that ended up in the comic. So like it's just a healthy habit uh, of what I needed to do to survive as a child, and
Mm,
now something that's helping me learn to thrive and grow as an adult. So
that's
it's
awesome.
yeah, it's an insanely personal thing because like someone's art is a glimpse into their soul. It's not just Stanley telling you that there's a raging monster and his name's the Hulk. I think that's a part of him too.
Yeah.
Is the anger that he goes through, and so you get to see that vulnerable side of him that allows you to fall in love with him because there's a little bit of him in every one of his characters. And
Yep.
so like that's definitely something that I think leaned into due to awesome creators who have constantly said that same message. I think one of the easiest examples is Kevin Smith,
Mm,
that people know and love. He'll always say, your story is your instrument. Nobody can take that away from you, and that's the unique thing that you have to offer the world and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, like I always knew I would be making comics, and around COVID time is when I really started to kind of lean into that pretty heavily.
mm.
Started working on the Avandris theory after finding that COVID was not really a good time to work on Drunk Mom. I pivoted to that and kind of collaborated with some local creators that would otherwise meet at like a comic creators meeting at a local writers center nonprofit in Norfolk. And then once that was done, we did issues 1 and 2 of Evandris. I collaborated on a horror anthology, Tales of Goop, Tales of Goop and Phantasmagoria. And then worked on, I don't know if you know about this one, but it's Ghosts of Wimbledon.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I don't know about that one.
it's like a psychological thriller / like supernatural thriller.
Okay,
And it was a collaboration with a musician in Norfolk. So we collaborated on turning his one of his songs on his album into a comic book.
that's awesome.
So yeah, really really fun project there. And then right when I was working on the Kickstarter for Drunk Mom, I was like, again, all my momentum was kind of stuck in like November of 2024 for obvious reasons. And then was like, man, like I really need something to do, like a creative outlet, something to help me process while I am on like Christmas vacation with my family. I got engaged to my wonderful fiance,
That's awesome.
and just still, had this knack to create. So I had met Jason Keith at Richmond Comic Con, which was right across the street from my house. I live right across the raceway.
That's awesome.
It was like 2 minutes. And Brian Lacey texted me. He's like, "Hey man, I know you were close. Are you coming?" And I was like, I wasn't gonna go, but yeah, you're right. I should probably go. It's like $5, so I'll go. And I knew Jason Keith was gonna be there because he's probably the biggest name there. If you've read a Marvel comic in the last 15 years, you've read a Jason Keith comic, whether it's Savage Wolverine with Frank Cho, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, you name it. Red Hulk, obviously, is his big claim to fame. He's the first person to color the Red Hulk, the one that was just in the Captain America: Brave New World. So that was him. And then I emailed him because we had a conversation at Comic-Con. I got him to sign some Avengers comics that I liked. And he was like, "Yeah, I got this awesome cosplay world convention. I have these awesome mascots. There's this whole story. There's pirates. There's steampunk. There's a circus." And I'm like, "Whoa, that's awesome." And he's just like, "I got all these notes. I just don't know how to write it into a script." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, like I'll write that for free. It sounds like you did most of the heavy lifting. Like I'll do it just for fun. That sounds awesome." And so, yeah, like over the Christmas break, I emailed him. I was like, "Hey man, just hitting you up. If you want to send over those notes, I mean, now is a good time for me to take a look at them again." And yeah, it blew up from there. I mean, it went from December, me kind of chewing on the notes that he had, to writing all 3 issues that are coming out this year in January, hiring an artist, and then launching by March. So like it was just the fastest thing. And it felt so natural, and it's just been such a great creative project because like at the time I was writing about what I was going through personally. So like the main character, Ringo Coswell, he's this ringmaster of a circus, right? And it's like the late 1800s in Richmond, Virginia. So there's like a cold winter. It's like getting into like the Gilded Age. Like everybody's poor, and there's like child labor violations going on. Like everything's shitty. So he's just like, "Man, like I just run this circus. Like I don't know if this is like worth it. Is it worth doing this? Like just to put a little bit of like magic in the world? Like it just really, you know." Wrestling with like his entire worldview and like his entire mission, like basically his entire purpose in life. And and he's got to double down on this. Well, if I'm gonna be a ringmaster of a circus, it's got to be the biggest show. I've got to distract people from the world for a good hour or two, and give them their money's worth because the money's tight, and so we got to make this the biggest, most epic, awesome circus of all time. And so he's kind of a very like morally gray character because like he's like almost like an anti-hero or like flawed hero. Like he's kind of like a Willy Wonka.
Okay.
Like so where you're like, okay, like he's overall net doing good, but like are all of the things that he's doing along the way justifiable? So he's like a very like lovable trickster scoundrel type. And so yeah, like I really did fall in love with the character. Jason let me, play with his toys, and I really loved the final scripts for all 3 issues. We've got issue 1 launched right now. It ends, I believe, on Thursday, the 10th.
Yeah, so
Um,
technically it's Friday 4/11, but it's like
right.
1:44 a.m. So
Yeah.
so
So if you're
basically till
if you're
Thursday.
Friday, but yeah, Thursday. Um, and issue 2 should be around June, which is when the Cosplay World Con is. So if you're at Cosplay World Con and we hit our stretch goal for 5,000, you'll have like a cool con badge, like the little ribbons that people put
Yeah.
on their their ticket, their vendor hall pass. We'll have one just for Enchanted Circus of Wonder for Cosplay World Con, which is really cool. And if you're in Richmond, this is definitely one that's specifically for you, because like 3 out of the 5 creators are in Virginia. So I
Mm,
went to high school in Richmond. I live in Richmond and work in Richmond. Jason's in Richmond, and the comic takes place in Richmond. So it's this weird look into the past, because like steampunk always is, right? But
yeah.
like you get to like play with the things that maybe are problematic, and maybe replace them or like make them work for the story, or like make a commentary on them,
Yeah.
and so like like there's just such fun imagery and like political issues to talk about. Like there's just so much fun stuff going on. Like there's people don't know this, but there's one of the first, if not the first in the world, electric rail systems, like electric trolleys in
Yeah.
Richmond,
Wow.
and they were basically moving everything in the city in the 1890s when this book takes place, uh, and it's like the power grid was in its infancy, let alone you know uh,
Yeah.
electric rail. So yeah, it's just such a fun, like there's steampunk flying trolleys and stuff in the book because it's
Naturally. Yeah.
fantastical and fun. So
Yeah.
yeah, and like there's like little buildings that are historic in Richmond. So if you know your Richmond history, you'll be able to point out like, oh, I know what neighborhood that's in.
That's
That's
cool.
that's the old church. That's the train station. What the heck? Like you'll recognize locations. So it's a comic like for everyone. It's very like PG, very all ages.
Yeah.
But like if you are in Richmond, it is a love letter to Richmond in a huge way, artistically. From my job to the letterer who's also in Virginia. So yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool.
That's
If you haven't
great.
seen the video, definitely watch it. My uncle did the voiceover.
Oh, cool.
He's done a couple voiceover things. If you've played the Arkham Files game, he was actually the voice of the Joker,
Jeez.
which is fun. And he was the voice of the San Diego Zoo, like 100th anniversary celebration. Like
That's awesome.
he's got a really cool job where he just kind of gets to wear a lot of hats, and he's happened to wear a voiceover hat 2 or 3 times. So I was like, hey, I know you have this very niche skill. Could you help? So no, like, but the video kind of shows like what the theme or like the feel of the comic is, what the vibe is. It's very like larger than life, but like almost like behind the mask
Mm,
is a very sad clown, and there's like a bit of tragedy there. But
yeah.
you still have to hold on to hope, and like that's what the whole script is about to me. Because when I was writing it, I needed a little bit of hope in the world, and so I wrote it into existence through these characters. So
That's awesome. Dude, there's so much that I want to unpack.
yeah, yeah, it's a lot.
There's so much. Like, you beat me to the punch of like how you connected with Jason to begin
Yeah,
with, which is wild that it like was legit just a conversation. So if you've ever gone to a convention, like talk to the creatives, just
they're
talk to
people
them.
too.
Like
Yeah, they're
they're
just guys.
just people. And like it's crazy. I went to a tiny, like it was actually crowdfunded to do a Comic-Con at my the college that I went to at NKU, and it was held in their student center, and there were like 3 rows of creatives and then like 2 of vendors that I didn't even go to, because I just spent all of my time, like I literally went table to table and just like, hi, you don't know me, I'm Chris. I wasn't even doing this show yet, like it wasn't even a flash in the pan yet. I just like talking to creatives, and
Yeah.
they were like local creators that were, came from the tri-state area and maybe 2 states away, but like all of them were people that are like here. And so I just like went table to table, and I went to college with one of the guys that now works for Mad Cave. And like I was working my way to him to like reconnect, because we had talked on socials plenty of times and like
Right.
stayed in touch after college, but I hadn't seen him in person. And so I'm like slowly working my way. And so I finally got to him, and he was like, dude, this con's been open for like 5 hours and you're just now getting to me. He was like, I literally watched you talk to every single table on your way. And I was like, oh, he's almost here. All right, I'll just keep talking to people. Oh, he's almost here. I'll just get, and I was like, I can't help it, man. But like it's that energy of like just connecting with creators at
Yeah.
conventions, that like there's magic there. Not to beat into the play on words too hard, but like there's magic there to capture. And
Yeah.
you did that, and now like here you are with a fully funded comic on Kickstarter. It's the first of 3, which you're all releasing this year. Are you insane?
Yep.
Like
Yes, we are.
what?
It's your question. We are insane.
I saw that, like, yeah, it's issue 1 of 3, and we hope to bring the rest to you this year. And I was like, that's only if you fund, right? Then you'll do the second one, and then maybe get the no, like your plan is to get all 3 out this year, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it helps that you have the whole all 3 already written. But like, what's the process? How to find somewhere to start with you? What's the process been like? To just deconstruct things, like taking somebody else's idea and characters that he would, because his cosplay con has been like, it's been a thing for what, 4 years?
I think so.
So
Yeah.
like, what was it like for you stepping in to play with his toys? Like, was it more challenging for you to write the script because you didn't want to, like, you wanted to stay true to the characters that he already had created? Like, how involved was he with it? What was that like for you?
Counter question: have you played D&D?
No, but I'm familiar with
Okay,
D&D.
so I think a good analogy is in D&D. There's like pre-made campaigns, right? You can play
Yep.
Curse of Strahd, Wild Beyond the Witchlight, like stuff that like Wizards of the Coast puts out, and there's like these books. And I feel
Yeah.
like when new dungeon masters are like trying to play and they're trying to DM a campaign that is already pre-written, right? Like they don't want to feel like they're doing the characters injustice, like they're not serving the story correctly, like they're not, playing with it correctly. But like part of it is like, here's the roadmap, and like you're gonna make a wrong turn somewhere. So like your job is to just generally steer it in this direction,
Yeah.
but like let your players have agency and stuff. And so like as opposed to like making your entire world from scratch, which like
Mm.
can also seem intimidating in a different way. And so like really what they don't tell you about D&D is that like they don't you don't have to give Wizards of the Coast a dime to be creative and to play.
Mm.
That's what they're selling you is that spark of creativity. And
Yeah.
so to answer the question, it's a different mindset, right? But it's still the same process, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So instead of like saying like, oh, I want to have, a down on his luck scoundrel guy for this role in my play, and like then like writing that role into existence to like fill a narrative need that you have.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let me read the manual. Let me read the notes. What am I working with here? And let's extract the story the other way. Let's find out what
Mm.
players we have, what pieces we have, and then what story we can tell with those pieces. And
Okay.
so it's kind of just a reverse version of the same exact thing,
Okay.
to where you'd be maybe creating a character, or like even like a bit, like jokes
Yeah.
instead of like finding the funny, right? In the
Okay.
characters that already exists. So like one of them is a jester bot. So he's it's a steampunk world. So he's like a android or like a cyborg thing. Um, Basically like a steamy robot guy.
Yeah.
Um, and he's like a jester, and he's funny, and it's like okay. The humor there is that like he doesn't understand human emotions. He doesn't know humor probably very well. He's probably the most like deadpan comedian ever, and like so like there's a scene where I was like, all right, how do I extract the funny out of this? Where he's like fighting the wrestler. There's like a masked wrestler that's in there, and
Yeah.
it's like, part of the show, part of the circus, and she's selling it like she's throwing him onto the floor and like putting him in an arm lock and stuff, but he doesn't feel any pain, so he's like, oh, ow, gosh, this hurts so bad, right? And so like, and it's just like how do I how do I play with these pieces in a way that's entertaining?
Yeah.
Um, Whereas like I probably maybe not have come up with that scenario the other way. So it's just like it's a whole new uh, uh, story that you would never find going the other way.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's all fun. So being able to take some of the story that Jason was alluding to in some of his notes and like put all the ducks in a row and like make the structure make sense, make the
Yeah.
pacing make sense, um, and like working with him on like feedback and stuff. Like there was definitely an idea that got shot down where I was like, oh, and I'm your father type, Darth Vader moment, and he's like, we don't need that, and I was like, okay, that's fine, that's fair.
Got it. Yeah. No,
Like,
definitely not the
no, yeah,
dad.
no,
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 I
no,
would,
no, no. We're
let's
just spitballing
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So yeah, there's a lot of, what do what does the creator envision for these characters, and how can I make that a reality for them, right? Like, what's the
Yeah.
essence of these characters? And so you kind of have to like get into the heads of the characters themselves and realize kind of what they want, what their key motivations are, just like you would for your big bad in your D&D campaign. So
Yeah. That's cool. That's a great analogy too. I don't know why my brain went to do you remember Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2?
yes,
And
very well.
like so many hours spent playing it.
Yes.
My buddy and I would play the like versus mode for horse,
Yeah.
but like we would manual between kickflips and stuff. So you
Right.
would get this huge combo of moves, and it would like the timer would end, and we would just see how long we could keep going, like chaining moves together. I'm not joking when I say that we easily play like 3,000 hours of that in high
Yeah.
school alone, just like on the Dreamcast, like crazy. But I mentioned that because since I haven't played D&D, even though I've wanted to for years, and it never works out.
Yeah, it's like
Which is
skate
fine.
is the reverse skateboarding of skateboarding, right? Like
Yeah,
it's the reverse writing. Like, oh, instead of doing a trick because it feels right or is right for this element, it's like, how can I freaking achieve this trick
yeah.
in
Well,
in the space given?
so like in the game, it
Yeah,
was I want to create my own skate park. And so they're like, here's an empty warehouse. Here's our pieces. Go ahead. And it was
yeah,
then figuring out like, okay, I can set up like a grind from here. And if we can hop off beforehand, we can land on this other one and build that a gap to get the bonus points there. But then also like we can and so we spent like almost as much time building parks as we did playing, because we would just spend like one weekend only building a park. And then the next weekend, when we were spending each other the night at whoever's house, like we would play that park to death and figure out like, okay, that didn't work. Let's go back in and change it. And so it was like, it was very similar of here's the pieces that we have. And like, you have to enable your player or your skater to be able to do these things. You can't just make like insane whatever nonsense that they ended up making anyway, like make it make sense. And so
yeah.
that like that's where my brain went as you were talking about the D&D stuff. I was like, oh, I mean, we did that. Yeah, okay. So like it makes total sense now for me.
Did you hear that they're potentially Tony Hawk's like, hey, I want to get more music onto the remakes of the Tony Hawk soundtrack. What would
Yeah.
be a dream song to be on that
Oh,
soundtrack for you?
I mean, it's hard to try and top uh the soundtracks that already existed, because like there's something about that initial drop, as like your players dropping into the park, and you
Right.
hear the guitar for Rage Against the Machine,
Yeah.
"Ba-dow, ba, ba-dow, ba, ba," like that. Just I can't, even if I saw Rage like live in concert, which is never gonna happen. Like as they started playing that, I would expect it like a skater to drop off the like amps or something, because like it has to. That's where my brain goes. Just like there's certain songs that I hear and I
Yeah.
automatically go to like Guitar Hero or whatever. Um, if I, if I,
I knew that'd be a very good question because you'd be like, one song.
yeah, like I feel like the majority of the stuff that I was listening to when my friends were, I owned a skateboard, but I could not, I just carried it around. I, I don't have that coordination. I could rollerblade, and I bought rollerblades and realized rollerblading as an adult is very different from rollerblading as like a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Very different. I don't even have those muscles anymore. But like I was listening to, that was like when pop punk was just running everything.
Right.
But I don't want to go with like the easy, like, yeah, like something from Blink 182 or something. Even though like they're my favorite band of all, it's easy to pick on them because I
Right.
love them deeply.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
But like something like I feel like Newfound Glory would fit very well in that playlist,
Yeah.
because they have built in like the jump breaks in their songs, right? Where like in My Friends Over You, there's the moment in the video where like everybody jumps and the camera freezes, the music stops, and it does the full 360 around the band, and
Yeah.
then the guitar comes back in as they land. Like those moments pair really well with like
With the
landing
game.
this
Yeah.
crazy flip or 900 or something. So I think that would be fun to like try and time with those breaks, because then you would have to know the song really well. You'd have
Yep.
to know, like, there's a lot that would go into timing that perfectly. And some Twitch streamer would be like, "Oh yeah, got it. There it is. What's up? What's up?" And I'd be like, "You mother."
Yeah,
But
I loved the like old school like roots that you could definitely see from the original soundtrack. Like
yeah,
although it was like current, they were like they're still putting some of their references on their sleeves. So
yeah.
I would just continue to hammer that old school down, and like I would do, I think either the Buzzcocks or X-Ray Specs
Dude, I
would be
love the
my
Buzzcocks.
my it's like I don't know what to do with my life for some reason. I think would pair well just
Yeah,
because it's just like what else are you gonna do? Friggin' skateboard?
just gonna skate. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Or
then
like Ghost Town from the Specials.
yep,
Like just because as you're skating, there's no one else like
yeah,
around. So it like thematically would fit.
yeah,
And I love the Specials too.
yeah.
Like
That's such a good song too.
yeah. Yeah. And have you seen the music video?
Yeah,
It's just like it's so simple and it's so perfect. I love it. That's like the with Michael Jackson. His music video, I think it's for Rock With Me, where it's just him. It's young him, so he still has the fro. And he's in like this nice tailored black suit with like a single skinny tie. He's in this black room. There's a fog machine and like a laser light thing, and he's just vibing. He's just doing what Michael does as he's singing. It's my favorite. I love it. It's that one. Paul Simon with Chevy Chase
yep,
doing like the whole singing, and then Paul Simon only does a goomp, goomp, and then plays the sax as they walk out. Like it's perfect. Those are the three. Like this music videos just fit so perfectly with the songs that it just, I remember the first time I saw them of just like, why didn't I like everything is so overthought. These are so simple.
yeah.
That's a fun question. Speaking of music videos, let's just go there because we're live.
'Cause we're a serious podcast. magically the issues, folks.
Yeah, we're injecting magic into a world that
There you
needs
go.
laughter and joy.
So the Michel Gondry ones are pretty iconic. The I think he did. I think he did Stereogram Walkie Talkie Man, and if it wasn't him, I still love that one.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a walkie-talkie man.
yeah, just that video is bonkers. And then the fell in love with a girl, White Stripes, and I think he
The
also does
Legos.
hardest
Yeah,
button to button, White Stripes.
yeah,
Where it's just like he is using this as a medium for art as much as the musician is, and I really appreciate that. Everything OK to Go does is crazy.
yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, the treadmill one is pretty iconic. If you've
It's
never
so
looked one up,
good.
that's the one
And
to
they
look
do
up.
that live.
Yeah.
They do the whole treadmill routine live. Like I saw them. We used to have a super awesome. It was called Midpoint Music Festival, and it was all these like lesser known indie bands and just fun. Like that's the first time I saw Rebel Bucket, and they blew my mind live because they were so damn fun. Like the trumpet player was out in the crowd, just like walking around playing his trumpet. It was insane. But like OK Go was one of the headliners that year or whatever
Nice.
year that was, and they like had a break and they literally like went off stage, wheeled out the treadmills, put them down. The treadmills got a pop from the crowd, and then they came out and it was like, we're not even going to play the song. We're just going to do the thing. And like we all lost our minds and they did the thing. And then afterwards they got out and like bowed and then just ran them back off, picked up their instruments and like went on with the show. And I was like, that's so insane.
Yeah, like anyone who does stuff like that, that's like experimental, is really fun.
Yeah.
Like Mute Math does that a lot with their videos.
Tell me you've heard Peculiar People.
No,
Oh my
I haven't heard that one.
God. It's on their self-titled like
Okay,
EP or whatever. They're from Columbus. So
okay.
like when I was in college, there's a chick that I dated. I don't know. We hung out a couple times and had a good time, whatever. But she went to OSU and like to party. And so one of the parties that she was at, somebody in Mute Math was there just like handing out EPs of their CD. And they're like, yeah, no, like we're a band, whatever. And so she was like, hey, I think you're really gonna like the CD. And so she burned me a copy of it, and it's got Peculiar People on it, and it is in my top 5 songs of all time.
Wow, I will
I
definitely check it out.
love that song, but it's not streaming. They haven't put it out anywhere.
Anywhere? Oh my God. Oh, YouTube, nothing.
I don't think it's on
SoundCloud,
YouTube.
MySpace, nothing.
Ooh, it might be on MySpace.
I'll check it.
That might be how you find it. But yeah, every time they put out anything, I'm like, come on, you've re-released I think 4 of the 6 songs that were on that EP. Like, and Peculiar People isn't one of them. And that's got another like once the guitar starts, I'm immediately taken back to like, yep, I know exactly. Like I remember the parking lot that I was sitting in when I listened to this for the first time because a car had a CD player at the time.
Yeah, 'cause it's hard. It's hard when like you're trying to pick like that one song or whatever for the question, and you're like, all right, do I go back or do I do something new that like still has nostalgia?
Yeah.
One of my favorite pop punk bands is Handguns.
Oh, yeah.
They're very angsty, and so it's just like, all right, I could do that any song off of Streetlight or whatever, that 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 I think would that whole album would fit on the track, and
Yeah.
I would know every word, and I wouldn't really have a preference on which one it is. But like, or like the Sunset Overdrive games, how they have like the new wave of like that traditional punk, to where
Yeah.
it's like the bass drum of doom and the Von Bondis and stuff, or like uh, uh, Meat Market. Like there's just so many like new punk bands that are really good, and it's just like, okay, I would also like them. So it's hard to get
Yeah.
people on board with your creative vision, but like obviously we trust Tony Hawk with our lives, so
Yeah. Yeah, man.
he's got it.
Yeah. He just posted. I always like to make fun of like older than me people that are making videos trying to like tap into the trends.
He's
And
the best at that.
dude, it's so he made one of like his morning routine It's incredible. I reshared it to my threads. So if you're on threads at Longbox this isn't a plug for me. Watch the Tony Hawk video because it's so funny. And like he's doing all the like regular stuff of getting ready and whatnot. And then he's like eating his breakfast as he's skating around this like skate park in his basement. It's so good, man.
So Tony Hawk's social media gives me so much hope. It's just like it's like the Big Lebowski where it's just like, man, I feel really good knowing there's people out there like that where he's just
Yeah.
like, hey, it's Tony, I'm here at a park. Here's a free skateboard. First one in the park gets it, and just throws it in the park, and you're like, the world needs this man, or we will
Yeah.
fall apart in 5 seconds.
Yeah, man. Like
We're like,
we need he
yeah.
raised as much as like
He
people
raised
always
like
say
20
like
to 30 years
actors.
of people.
Yeah, like dude, you landing the 900 the first time, like 7-year-old me or whatever the hell, because I don't actually remember when he did it because I've seen it so many times now that I'm
Right.
like I don't even know how old I was when he
That's
landed in
just
the X
it's
Games.
in the history books. It's part
But
of our
like
life. Yeah.
it was such a big deal, and he had another video that he was watching because I guess my phone was like, "You need Tony Hawk in your life." I'm like, "You're right, I do," and now I follow him everywhere. But there's a video of him like sitting, and he had like 3 monitors in front of him, and he's like eating a banana or whatever because he's older than me, so he needs the potassium, I
Right.
guess. And I don't know why I'm making assumptions about Tony Hawk's life. But he's watching a video of a kid that landed. It wasn't a 1080, it's whatever the next one above that is, like a 1520 or something. I don't even know, but he like it's like the kid lands whatever and he's 7 and he like lands it and Tony Hawk's just eating it and he's like and just like looks at the camera like, "Come on, man." And I'm like, "Dude, you just got overspun by somebody that
A
is
7-year-old. Yeah.
is like 7 and it was a big deal when you landed the 900 and now this kid has gone 2 revolutions above that. Like, get out of here."
So funny. Yeah. Like even just his tweets that are like, yeah, I was at the airport and someone said, "Wow, your name is Tony Hawk, like that skater. I wonder what he's doing." And he's like, "Yeah, this is
Probably
what I'm
getting on a
doing."
plane, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Like, even just those tweets are like
Yeah,
they just make the
Pete.
world so much better.
Also, my pal DC Patrol is here. Foxy Shazam.
Oh my
I
gosh. We love
like
Foxy Shazam.
and I love how still rooted in Cincinnati they are. Like they still come back every year and make sure to do like the double night concerts on whatever major tour they're doing. They'll do 2 nights in Cincinnati. Like
Yeah.
they're so freaking nice. To just like always come back, and they're always having smaller name bands come on and play with them to try and lift up the scene here. And it's like nothing but nice things to say about Foxy.
Yeah, I think I like it. It's probably my favorite song by them, but probably wouldn't make it into the game. And then
Yeah.
Dangerous Man is my other favorite. So,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
They're super fun. See, this is the beauty of having people on that I've talked to before because we already have an established rapport. And I know you're not going to get mad at me for talking about Tony Hawk for 20 minutes or whatever it's been. So to get back to comics,
yeah.
that you write and things, I've completely lost all.
No, you're fine. So writing, this was such a good opportunity for me because writing is, I think, my strongest discipline in terms of comic creating.
Okay.
Like I've been drawing my whole life, and I recently discovered that I've been penciling my whole life, and that inking is super freaking hard.
Yeah.
And like I know that there's like skills that I do have with inking. It just takes me so much longer than everybody else. It still isn't like the results that I want. I'm still not happy with them. So
Mm.
like moving forward, like I just finished Drunk Mom, and did all of the inks for that. So I did like 9 pages prior to the campaign, and then I did 15 pages in like a month, and it like almost killed me. Like I was just like, my head hurts. I need a nap. Like, please, no more comics. I'm hiring an anchor. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like because like it's so worth it. Like I don't. One of the things I really hope people, if they are this far into the Tony Hawk podcast, that I hope they hear this. Um, that like don't let a lack of skill or like a perceived lack of skill like get in the way of you being creative, number one, because you can just be creative and do anything. You can paint, you can um yeah, trust me, the fact that I did 4 comics prior to that is what's even made that possible. So like the
Yeah.
practice really does make perfect. Uh, but I would rather I would rather work with a guy who likes to ink as well.
Yeah.
Uh, so,
I
uh,
do know
but
a guy.
but like so like part of the fun is like finding all of these problems. Like, oh, I'm really terrible at lettering. And then finding a letterer and like getting out into the comic community and like embracing the comic community and just finding out that they're all introverts just like you,
Yep.
and they all struggle going to conventions and sitting at a table and talking to strangers just like you do. Because I think a lot of creatives are that kind of like, oh, I want to stick in my hidey hole and just kind of, be a hobbit and draw and create in my own little cave. And like that's awesome, and it is such an important part of an artistic's life. But like getting out into the community, it's not like it's just like good for you, like in like a holistic sense. Like
Yeah.
it's good for you creatively too, because like you'll meet people that challenge you creatively and teach you things, and have skills or perspectives that you otherwise wouldn't see. And so like part of the progression of like, oh, I have a script, I have a comic, and I want to publish it. Like part of that is like learning from the people that have already done that, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel, which is part of the great the greatest thing. So part of it was like Jason came to me, and so he's been working with Marvel for 15 years, so he you know, doesn't have a whole lot of experience in crowdfunding, and I've done that 3 or 4 times now. So
Yeah.
I was able to be kind of not amateur at that. So that was great. And so like yeah, like I'm sure for him it may have been like intimidating, like, oh man, I'm going from, this part of my life into, kind of going more indie, doing my own thing creatively. And that may have been intimidating. So I was glad that I was able to offer that, and he's able to offer his insanely great coloring skills. If you see all
Yeah.
the covers, they're like just the
They're so good.
most professional comic I've ever been a part of, bar none. So yeah, like it's such a cool thing to be creative, because and writing for me is, I think, where I feel the most comfortable creating
Yeah.
is writing. And so like I'll definitely be taking like more writing opportunities in the future. Um, just trying to hone that skill, because I think that's where I could do the most good in the community. And
Yeah.
so yeah, like part of that journey for me has been, man, I really like to draw, and wouldn't have found out that I like to write if I didn't start collaborating with people and working in that way. And so now now I'm like able to finally be at a place where I'm like, okay, Drunk Mom is my thing. I've got the Funko, I've got the poster and everything. Like she's my
Yeah.
girl, but like, other people can draw Drunk Mom too. It's not for me to gatekeep. So as long as I can write the character in a way that's creatively fulfilling, I can find an artist that can also support my creative vision. And so like
Mm.
that perspective of it has only come with time and practice. So like you're gonna make a bad comic. It's gonna happen. Just get it out there, get it under your belt.
Yep.
Put in the hours. Um, you know, drawing it the way that you can, and getting it out there, and then work on to the next one. Don't try to let your inner perfectionist get in the way of you getting that one out there, because
Mm.
no comic is perfect, and two, nobody's first comic is perfect. That's for dang sure. So just start creating, and don't stop. That's
Yeah.
really the only the only
Dude,
thing I've learned from this is that this train is not stopping.
I love that. I love how you said that though, of like, don't let perfection get in the way of creation, and like just keep going. And the idea of like your first one is probably going to be trash, but like do it anyway,
Yeah.
is is so helpful, and it's not like you're not the first person or the second or even the third person I've heard that from.
Yeah.
Like multiple people that have encouraged me, just me personally, to be like, hey, you've probably got ideas for comics, like write them. The first one's going to be bad, who cares, write it and like go. And
Yeah, make
it's
bad art.
just the
Do it.
act of like bad art
Yeah,
is still
doesn't
better
exist. Yeah,
than no art. Like I
right.
love it feels very I don't know if I'm just like in the echo chamber now of like DIY minded people on social media, which if I am, amazing.
That's a great echo
Because
chamber to
like
be in.
yeah, it's so good because like
Yeah,
frequently I see posts from a ton of different accounts that are all over the range of what they do, that are always like, it doesn't matter if it's good or if you sell a million or if you don't sell any, like do the thing, make the thing, create the
yeah,
art, like just do it and put it out there. And as you do it, you'll hone and you'll learn and it'll get better. You might reach your audience faster or whatever, like, but
yeah,
you can't do that if you don't start doing. So like do the thing. And
yeah,
every time I'm like, yep, I just repost. Yep, yeah, repost. Like I just like, oh, I suggested for me. You're right. I do like that. Follow. Okay. Like I just love how many people, how many creatives are so encouraging for people that, might not be making stuff yet. That and hearing that over and over of like, it doesn't matter if it's amazing or not subjectively, like just make it and find out. And hearing that enough times, finally, like it's that whole you tell yourself a lie enough and you start to believe it is true.
yeah,
Hearing that enough times, I was like, it doesn't matter. It's going to be fun anyway. Like, I'm going to have a good time. So, okay. And so, like, now up with Chris, like, we're making a comic and it's been an amazing process to go through
yeah,
and to like see, and we're learning a ton. And it's like, it's a blast. Like, just do the thing. And I wouldn't have known that had I not just taken the
yeah,
chance and had he not reached out to me and all that stuff. But,
yeah. Part of it is
um,
like, so like the whole conversation is around like the Studio Ghibli AI stuff is
yeah,
like part of the joy of creating is the process of creating. It's not just the final product.
yeah,
So like if you're looking for a shortcut to get you the art that you want, it's not going to mean anything to you. It's not going to mean anything to anyone. Part of what makes your art is you. And so like there's an interview with what's his name from Eternals who plays
oh,
Fastos. It's like Bryce Tyree um, Henry,
yes.
Brian Tyree Henry. So he like his interview was groundbreaking, I think, for what that film means to him and
Mm.
to a lot of people. Is he's like, oh, I got the call from Marvel. I was like, man, like what's the gym regiment gonna be? Am I gonna be, doing the Brie Larson and um, Chris Pratt treatment, like hitting the ropes, doing Thor stuff in the gym, and they're like, "No, dude, like we want you for you. Like we don't need you to change who you are." And he's like, "I've never heard that in my life from anyone, let alone somebody I work for." And so
So
like
good.
like your human imperfection in your own life experience, in your own identity, in your struggles, like and in your art is what makes your art. And so
Yeah.
like it took me a long time to realize that about my own art and like love my art style to be able to bust out 15 pages and be okay with it. And then publish it and not be like, man, I've made a huge mistake. So like that alone is its own learning journey, and like you cannot accomplish that in 2 seconds with AI. That's
Yeah.
not possible.
Yeah.
So the process of creating is why you should create. It's for the love of life itself. It's for the love of creation, and it's a radical act of self-love. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
So much of that resonates because not to, over talk or make it about me, which I'm totally not trying to do. Like legit, there's, God, even that sounds like back to me
anyway,
here,
yes,
CL. Thanks for coming on the show and wanting to talk to
and don't
me
come back
about
ever
me.
again.
But I'm going to talk about me some more. So I hope you don't mind. I only recently, so I've been trying to like learn how to draw and stuff. That's my like
Yeah,
goal for this year, is to do that and feel more comfortable and confident. And I took some things that I had seen from multiple videos that I was watching, because there's not like none of them are the same. You know, like start if you want to start drawing, start here. Oh, pick up this thing and start using that thing. And it's
But
all
first,
like,
HelloFresh.
yeah. Are you
Anyway,
eating healthily? It's all different, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the like extrapolate what I think they're trying to get at, and I'm
yeah,
just gonna do what works for me. So I found some warm-ups that I like doing and that I feel very much like, oh yeah, no, I do need to practice making straight lines over and over on top of each other because I can't.
yeah,
And so like working on that sort of thing. And I was trying to do different heads, and I was like, I'm not even ready to like think about anatomy yet. I just want to make some weird looking freaking heads. Like that's what I want to
yeah,
do. And so I just drew out some shapes, and I was like, I don't know, that'll be challenging. This could be fun. And like it was the process of doing that, the 2 hours it took me to draw seven
yeah,
heads. Like I really enjoyed that because I just was playing. It was
yeah,
just like, I don't know, this is probably how this would look. And at the end of it, I was like, that didn't work out. But that was really fun. But that's a miss. But like it was the first time that I could look at something that I had drawn and really think like, you know what? I think I'm like, I don't need to start or continue, or like I need to stop trying to emulate and make my art what other artists are creating,
right.
because like that was always a barrier for me that I didn't know until like last week.
Yeah. Well,
Um
I'm not Neil Adams, so I guess I'll quit. Like, okay,
yeah.
well,
Oh, well, that's not how
nobody is
Jim Lee
except
would do
him. So,
that. So
yeah,
dang it. But yeah, like it was just the like still finding joy in what I had created because I created it is like there's something that's intangible that I can't, like you can't even begin unless you've done it, you don't
yeah,
understand it. And I'm by no means like a person that should be talking about, oh, my experience as an artist, because it's like 2.5 months.
but
But
that's great
it
that you're
like,
having a good time, like, and starting and like, hey, I had a really good time doing this. I'm interested in doing this again. I'm interested in making this a goal of mine. Like,
yeah,
that's a good sign, and that's what it's all about. Like, like that's what comics should feel like.
yeah,
Like that's what I hope the Enchanted Circus of Wonder looks like. Is like, hey, we've made a really fun time, um, which is super meta. Because Ringo's also made a super fun time, and just come play with us and like
yeah,
come see what we're working on and see the show that we have for you. And like that's the kind of spirit that I think a lot of people should put out into the world, because like the world needs it. That's
yeah.
what the comic's about. That's that's my headspace right now. Is that uh I could use a dang comic book, and I'll take any of them at this point. So
Yeah. And like I looking through the Kickstarter page, I never expected in a like circus fantasy story about steampunk pirates to have like a luchadora. I was so
yeah,
like I'm still kind of weird vocally because I was at an indie wrestling show last night and I am the
nice.
loudest voice in the room. Because that's the fun for me of is just like ribbing the wrestlers and trying to get them to break mid match, which two of them did. So I was successful. But like I love comics that show wrestling and like pro wrestling and doing,
Yeah,
because all of that is also becoming more mainstream with WWE on Netflix now, and like AEW on Max, and all like indie shows popping up all over the place. And again, this could just be my like I'm in a pro wrestling echo chamber too, but
yeah.
it feels like something that is becoming normalized.
Well, I mean, even like
Whereas
the John Cena
the
and
heel
The
turn,
Rock,
right? Like,
uh, that got dissected on
yeah,
Jon Stewart. If you haven't seen that, it's a pretty um, harrowingly accurate depiction of geopolitics right now,
I
and it
love it,
shouldn't be, but it's hilarious.
dude. John Stewart and John Oliver
Yeah,
are my two favorite Johns.
yeah,
But yeah, like it's rewarding for me uh to now see people that always used to like probably bully kids like me, because I got bullied all the time. You know it's fake, right? Oh, really? And the TV you're watching, is it? But like I always got bullied for being a pro wrestling fan and a comic book fan. And
yeah,
so for me, like there's magic when those two things come together.
yeah,
And like wrestling can be shown in comics, and to have John freaking Stewart to like one of the most loud voices in like the political landscape that like regular adults are watching.
Yeah.
Having him talk, and like John Oliver did a piece on WWE and the health insurance and them as a business a couple of years ago, which was fascinating, and like all these documentaries and stuff. It's just like seeing it as me going through all the stuff that I went through, that I still was holding on to that stuff. Like, no, I like this. Like, just because you're giving me shit for it doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing the thing that I like. Like, that to me is the roots of why I liked punk music to begin with. Cause it was like,
Yeah.
no, they're saying the things that I'm trying to say to these football linebackers, but they're huge. So I'm not going to say it, but like, when I'm in the rehearsal room in the theater, I'm going to say it about them because they're going to be out on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
field running.
That's what I've always loved about music. That's what I've always loved about superheroes. Like it's a modern mythos
Yeah.
for people to learn life lessons through. That you know, if you're grounded like me as a kid growing up, and you can't get out there and watch TV, go talk to people, hang out just at like a normal person. I mean, you get to hang out with the creators who make your comic in a kind of parasocial way where they're teaching you everything that they've learned and you're just ingesting it, or you have your headphones on and you're just like, oh, okay, let me make this my entire life now. Let me let me
Right.
turn your lyric pamphlet into my Bible. So yeah, like it's definitely so many things for so many people. And like I just turned 30 last year, so my experience has been that like I survived my 20s, and I now get to rediscover who I am and the things that I like and be unapologetically those things. And so it just kind of gives me a new lease on life, to look forward to this new decade, of creativity and epicness.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's I saw something just the other day. God, I sound like an old person. I saw something on the internet. But like I think the quote was, in my 20s, people were telling me who to be. And it wasn't until I got into my 30s that I realized I could live how I want to be. And
Yep.
it was just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look at our backgrounds. Look at us. This is who we are. We're not going to change. We've always been these people, right? And so, like,
Yeah.
to make comics, it's like, okay, yeah, sure, that's the natural progression of who you are. So, like, whether you monetize it and sell 1,000 copies, or fund it with all the stretch goals and bells and whistles, that at the end of the day doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You still are who you are. You've painted on the walls. You've put your magnum opus out there into the world, and that's all that matters. And at the end of the day, that's what the creative journey is about, is finding who you are and reaffirming it, and like processing a bunch of stuff that you probably didn't in the past.
Yeah.
and letting everyone else go through your therapy session publicly
Yeah.
with you.
Here's
uh,
my trauma. Will you give me $5 for it, please?
yes, exactly. Exactly. So all of those same conversations happen at every comic convention I've been to, which is why I'll never stop going.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So when's do you know when the cosplay one in June is?
I think it's June 12th. Jason's gonna kill me if I don't get this right. So let me just fact check myself. I think it's June 12th. Cosplay World Con Richmond, July 12th.
July 12th, 7/12. Okay.
There's 2 months, and I got half of it right.
Hey
The last
man,
two letters were wrong.
it's
July
fine.
12th.
It's so fine. 7/12. Because I mean, I'm just saying Richmond isn't that far from me, so I could
Yeah,
probably
they
make that
just
in a day
announced
drive. So
Yaya Han. So if anybody's a big cosplay fan, she's like a really really famous cosplayer,
hmm.
that my fiance knew about. Like she basically like saw the con and was like, oh, this is like a real convention. This isn't like some. So you're telling me that they're doing really well with the convention, is what you're telling me.
Got it. Got it. That's awesome. Do you cosplay? Have
I
you ever
do.
cosplayed?
I do.
Yeah.
I have a couple characters I have cosplayed. I've cosplayed Star Lord, Iron Fist, Matt Murdock, um, oh gosh, Han Solo, um, uh, Bilbo Baggins. Uh,
Love
um,
that.
Trying to think if there's any more big ones. Oh, Cyborg. I was in like a Teen Titans group,
That's
which is where
awesome.
where I met a lot of my friends that are still my friends to this day. Is through that Teen Titans group. I was Cyborg. Gosh, what else have I cosplayed? I've done a couple, but those are the main ones that I have lying around.
That's cool. And like, once you do, you have like a bin of costume like pieces that you're just
Yeah,
like, yeah, these are gonna go here, and that's you
yeah.
live there now.
Since we do conventions a lot, my fiance and I like to do like comfy cosplays a lot. Like we did NecoCon last year, so we did Naja and Laszlo from What We Do in the Shadows
Okay.
one day, and then we did a comfy cosplay the next day. So we did Lo-Fi Girl and Synthwave Boy from YouTube, and like
Perfect.
2 people got it, and we were like, yes.
That's so awesome. I love the like mashup of stuff.
Yeah,
If the Zaboomafone wasn't so freaking expensive, I would love to be Jack Black Panther because I have a Black Panther costume, but I don't want to have to like a friend of mine like bought it for me because she knew I would show up to her son's birthday party as Black Panther. And so like she did that, and so I have the full, like, it's a legit costume, but it's a little tight in some areas, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And so like I was trying to think of ways that I could wear it that would be funny, but that I could still wear it because it's a great costume. And I was like, man, if I could get a Zaboomaphone and like a Hawaiian shirt or like cargo shorts or
And
something.
Birkenstocks.
Yeah, and just like walk around with like with the mask on, but like have the, yeah, and like people
Just
would
Jack
have
Black it up.
Jack Black Panther. Come on. Like, I think I love stuff like that that just mashes up. I think it'd be funny.
That's great.
My wife was like, please don't do that. No one needs to, like, yeah, but that's the point, babe. Like, he doesn't care. And
Just
side
accept the
tangent,
cringe, yeah.
he was so funny on Saturday Night Live last night.
Oh my gosh, I need to watch it.
So
I've been
funny.
working so much. I have like so much to catch up on, and that's on the top of my list.
Yeah, it like I didn't even know he was on it. And we always turn it on to get to the weekend update, and usually we turn it off. But he came out for the like opening monologue, and I was like, "Oh, I'm watching this whole thing tonight." And it was the last one that they did was like, theater was introduced in Rome in like, 500 BC or whatever. But at some point that means that there had to be the first play. Now we present to you the
That
first play.
play.
It's the fun. Like, as a theater kid, I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, definitely watch it and let me know. Let me know what you think. All right. I wrote that down to check out the luchadors we talked about. Steampunk. Cool. Do you have, as a steampunk person, do you do like, were you familiar with steampunk before?
Um, from a distance, like from a couple books. I think one of my favorite steampunk authors is like just the Michael Moorcock stuff, to where
Okay.
like he'll use you know, like sand boats and stuff like that, where it's like it's more like old world, but
Mm,
still pretty high fantasy, um, and like just the idea of using steam, not really like the clockwork time traveler and stuff like that, like not very
yeah.
high tech but very high fantasy. um, and obviously I think every kid my age saw Treasure Planet and what's the other one, Atlantis,
Mm,
are two obviously really big movies that I
yeah.
was the target audience for back then. um, so like there's a couple that like are actual, like not some of my favorite steampunk movies of all time, but like some of my favorite movies of all time. Like
Mm.
Rocketeer is great, Sky Captain World like Tomorrow is great. Like there's
Yeah.
just so many that's like, all right, like I haven't like bought a top hat and goggles or anything, but like
It's so funny you say that because I literally wrote down, "Do you
steampunk be
have a
hitting.
top hat and goggles?"
Like we may have a pair of goggles for one of either me or my fiance's cosplay, like somewhere. Maybe I don't like wear them or anything. Like, but like I'm sure if we had to go to like, oh, the event, I'm sorry, it's not a black tie event, it's a steampunk attire event. I'm sure we can throw something together, but like,
That would be a lot of fun to see what people come up like, I similarly, I've only ever seen, like, the aesthetic of steampunk, but, like, I love Sky Captain: The World of Tomorrow, The
even like
Rocketeer is
20,000
freaking
Leagues
great. Yeah.
is steampunk, and so like it's a little bit more accessible than I think people realize. Um, and like even like God, what's the movie? It's based on a comic. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen
Oh,
has
yeah.
has a lot of themes that are not just the submarine, but a lot of themes that are in line with the steampunk aesthetic. And so, like, I wanted the comic to be like the setting is steampunk, not really the genre. Like, I
Okay.
don't want to like alienate readers into thinking like, oh, this is a steampunk comic. It's not going to be for me. That's not really um, going to service the story very well
Yeah.
if people are kind of uh, tuned out. But I want to put enough like in the like artistic direction and like to give away the store. There's an airship and there's an airship battle and the gravi the stabilizer goes out and like they have to it's a whole thing. So like that happens. So like there's definitely like parts of the plot that are in it, but at the same time, like there are elements of magic and fantasy that are in it. So it's not strictly a scientific interpretation of steampunk that a
Yeah.
lot of people may be fans of. So I definitely don't want to like sell it to them. So yeah, it's a steampunk world with fantasy and magic in equal measure is kind of how we're putting it. So its genre is fantasy. So if you like the Wizard of Oz, if you like Willy Wonka, really just any moody but like kid friendly comic, this is the one for you. So
That's cool, and I'm surprised that you haven't mentioned the, pirate captain in a mech suit. Like, that's a freaking cool idea.
yeah,
So
yeah. Captain Draven is a cyborg. He has a mech suit, and when I was writing him, I was like, he is the Bruce Banner and the Hulkbuster. He's going around, right? And so they delivered the pages, and they're freaking beautiful, right? Like, don't get me wrong. And so I had to literally write into the script for the finale. I was like, I want him in a Hulkbuster suit just because I'm selfish, and I want him to just be bigger. Because like at the end of the day, right? Like you're playing with toys, it's fun, and so when I see a character that is in a metal suit, right? I immediately start thinking of like Gundams and
Yeah.
kaiju, and like I want the big robot to punch the big lizard and stuff. Like that's what you sign up for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so writing the mechanical steampunk kraken fight was definitely something that was extremely self-indulgent that I think that people are going to be really into.
That's awesome. I love that you have that in there because that's like seeing the pirate
it,
with the
it
mech
writes
suit.
itself, honestly.
Yeah,
Yes.
I immediately was like, "Is that gonna get bigger? Like, is he gonna have like the mech suit steps into a bigger mech suit, just upgrading himself
Yes, it
constantly?"
does. Yeah.
It's great. I love it. All right, man. You know how this goes. I like having people on here that have different perspectives and talk about different things. Don't mind me as I put on the closest thing I have to anything steampunk, but I have to do this because the ear hooks, these are like 70-year-old glasses at this point. But like, man, if I could figure out a way to wear these in a cosplay, I would absolutely. There's just my grandfather's
I would just
woodworking
go to the store
glasses.
like that. That's no notes.
No, it's just yeah, just hey, what's up? Yeah, no, I can't see because these aren't prescription, but like they're cool, right? So I mean, come on, come on. But I love having people on because everybody has different perspectives. So I would love to let you have some space. I know we've talked a lot about philosophy of indie creators and DIY mindset and all of those things. But if there's anything you want people to hear directly from you, um, here's your stage. All the world is a stage, as Shakespeare said. So take it away.
So I think I said probably a lot of what was on my mind right now in this moment. So I think one of the things I've learned from the last like 6 months has just been that your voice, although we're alone in the universe and we're on a rock floating in the middle of nowhere, and you're in the suburbs, you know just reading comics or whatever it is, on your phone, seemingly alone in trouble in paradise, in the heart of empire, whatever it is, right? And you can scream into the void all you want, but like the nihilism is really the enemy, I
Mm,
would say. And so letting that inner critique and inner saboteur, if you're a drag race enjoyer, RuPaul says it all the time. uh, letting your inner saboteur win is really one of that would be the biggest achievement of the evil forces in the world, right? Is to shut
mm,
you down creatively. And so part of finding your voice is not just finding what to say, but finding a reason to say it.
mm,
And part of the reason to say it is to speak truth to your own power. And when you choose to you know say something that you believe is right, or you say something in your art that is profound, that is personal, that is your truth, you are doing more for other people that you will never realize. Your story will impact people whether you want it to or not, whether you intend it to or not. Just by being yourself, you're going to affect those around you. And so the first person to speak up will always, always, always spark the confidence and inspiration in others to speak up for what is right. So don't stay silent. Don't lose your voice. Don't lose yourself in this intimidating and scary world. Um, Everything that you do to build community is how you reinforce those voices that keep telling you to keep making bad art, and that's what it's all about. So don't stop. uh, get on the train, and stick along for the ride.
it's great. Yeah, I had no notes, man. No, no notes. So thanks for
Thank you,
hanging
Chris.
out with me, um, for joining me again. For anyone that came here to hear Jason Keith, he's in transit from a con, so timing stuff didn't work out. But I'm glad that you stuck around and hung out, because there was a lot that I really enjoyed just dissecting with you, talking about, and like 20 minutes about Tony Hawk 2. Come on, that's cherry
Yeah,
on top, man. So, and any
we're
reason to
here for
break these out, like I have no other reason to break these out other than talking about a steampunk-esque world full of fantasies. So,
it. Yeah, I love coming on the show and letting. Thank you for letting me play with your toys. That is your show and your audience. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
absolutely, man. Well, I don't have anything else. That's all. We gotta take
Gotta
our
do
we gotta
the pose.
pose, man.
Yeah.
See, you should just be running the show for me, because you know what's up.
Do a little pirate pose.
Let me see. You're over here. I gotta switch hands. Okay. All right. I'm trying to be magical. I'm even posing with my leg
Yeah,
too. I
you got to
don't.
be silly. You got to be stupid. That's the only way
Yeah.
we're gonna get through all of this.
Yeah. Like when you're talking about, see here, I'm reversing, but I'm in the Midwest, so I can do this. When you were talking about how the ringleader is like wants to have this circus that just injects joy and positivity, like I firmly believe I was put on this rock to just like act silly and put smiles on people's faces.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
like I don't care, man. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna say like, "Oh, you're acting
You're
stupid." You're
having
right.
too good of a time.
How
Yeah, you're
dare you
damn
have
right I am.
fun? Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, that's me every time. I got so many looks at the start of the night last night, because I immediately, like, first match, the bell barely rang and I'm already like ripping, just like yelling everything ridiculous I could. And I was getting looks from like everybody in my section. By the end of the night, I had had other people that like I would yell something and they would laugh and turn around like, all right, man, that was okay. That was good. Yeah. Like the wrestlers, I would yell something at like the one guy's nickname is Picture Perfect. And he did a drop kick. And I was like, that drop kick was picture perfect. And like the people around me were like, yeah. And even the wrestler like stops. He's sitting in the corner. He like rolls over and looks over and he's like, all right, man. Yeah, that was
I
and I
see
was like,
you. That was pretty
got
good.
it. It's like that's why I'm doing this. So thank you for letting me just be me. And for making comics that I think people will enjoy. I'm excited to see the circus unfold in the pages before me, and like holy crap, breakneck pace for 3 comics this year. That's insane. I still think you're insane for doing that. So happy to have you back. If you enjoyed this, do the thing and leave the stuff, whatever. If you want to check out the campaign, I have it linked in the description below. If you're watching this right now, if you're listening to it, you have until basically Thursday at midnight to get in on backing this campaign. It is already funded, so you're going to get the book. It's already made. It's already complete with the funding stuff, so you're guaranteed to get the book. So do that before Thursday. And then find CL Zeno at CL Zeno. What socials do you use the most?
I would say I'm trying to migrate towards Blue Sky in a big way. Facebook, Instagram, Threads. Trying to be better about YouTube, and I've just neglected my TikTok all the time. So I'm sorry, Gen Z. I'm trying. I'm also on Red Note, but like nobody is. So
I don't even know what that is. But good for you. Good for you. And if you want to keep up with Jason Keith, he is at Jason Keith. I think I found him on Instagram, not on Blue Sky, and I think he has a Twitter X thing. Maybe I don't know. Go find him.
Should be at Jason Ray Keith. I think on Instagram.
Yeah, yes, that's the one. I knew there was another thing. I was like, you'll correct me. It'll be fine. CL's got my back. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah,
dude, I had a hang out after. I got logistics for you, as you know. But for everybody else, thank you for joining us on this wild ride. Make bad art. I'm going to coin that. I'm taking that, by the way.
Share Chris's show. That's the real hero here is share Long Box Punk all over the place. You listen to it. You have a good time. Spread that love.
Yeah, see, he said it, not me, so it's not self-justifying. He said it, so blame him for everybody blowing this up and sending it everywhere and sharing it all over their networks. But you know, when you're done listening to it, go do what's good for you, punks, and read some indie comics because we are out of here. Always.